A few guys there contacted me about doing some freelance work in tech writing. Few of my friends transitioning themselves into tech writing and they're looking for few freelance jobs. Do you have any suggestions like how can they get freelancing jobs and where can they get those jobs, etc.?
Well, I'm kind of a hybrid of a contractor and a freelancer. In other words, I've had many projects in the past where I had a single client, I gave them 40 to 50 hours a week, and that was it. Right? Now I'm in a position where I have multiple clients and, together, individually, they get 10 to 20 hours each. Together, I'm putting in, 50 or 60 hours a week. And the projects are all very different. Okay. I am soliciting most of my business from LinkedIn, quite honestly. I produce 2 podcasts and I have an article series that's got more than 100 articles. So like last week, I produced 17 no-cost learning assets in the form of these podcast episodes and these articles. And I find that gives me a good amount of reach, right? That allows me personally to generate enough business to keep me happy. It doesn't, not everybody wants to do that. I stay really busy doing that. I don't have a great social life.
Okay.
And my kids are grown and live in another state. So I'm not changing diapers all day. Not everybody can pull that off. But personally, I leverage social media, most specifically LinkedIn, because it gives me all the tools. I can generate a large following. I can create groups. I can create newsletters. I can create collections of articles. Like it's got all the basic tools that allow me to do what I'm trying to do and get the attention of those prospective clients.
Awesome. That will be really good lessons for my viewers and also my friends who are actually looking for a freelance job these days. Thanks for that. What do you think? What's the ultimate goal for tech writers? Is it about getting into the leadership role at the end or becoming a content strategist? What do you think about it?
I think everybody has a different goal. And I would not want to dictate that goal to others, right? Some people want to be kind of hands off and manage the activities of others, right? They want to get into management, be a director, be a VP, have, 85 people working under you. And there are some great capabilities there. That's power, right? And you can take those vast resources and you can do some amazing things. You can do, in theory, a lot more than you can do as an individual. Personally, I just kind of want to be a well-respected technical writer. And I love it when a client gives me a project and says, we've defined all the deliverables, we know what our timetable is, so there's no ambiguity, right? Ambiguity is bad. And they say, and we'll talk to you next week at the status update meeting. We set up weekly Zoom meetings and it goes from there. That's kind of the mode that I like. I guess I kind of like to work alone and, I've got a fast internet connection. I've got AI tools. I've got all these other tools.
Right.
I know what we've precisely defined the deliverable and we know the timetable. I just run with it. Right. But people are looking for something different. Some people love freelance. Some people love contract work. And a lot of people got to have that FTE, that full-time position, or it just doesn't work for them.
Right. I would say that's my comfort zone that you just mentioned. I have internet connections and I got my meeting scheduled. I'll have a call. I'll finish my work and get reviewed. And good feedback if possible. If I don't get it, I'll just keep working on myself, how to make it better. And at the end of it, that makes me really happy. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That as a freelancer or a contractor, that time that you spent with your client or clients is really important, right? Because you might think you're doing a good job, but they're the ultimate judge. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what they think. Who's paying you? And whoever's paying you, they make the rules and they get to decide whether you're doing a good job or a bad job. Now, if the people paying you are not good people and they're unethical and unprofessional and have a bunch of other bad traits, that's a different problem, right? That means you gotta get rid of them and go find somebody else, right? But assuming in theory, that you have, a good employer, a good client. Yeah, I totally hear you. They give you good feedback. Yay, it makes my week. They give you, well, we're not really on track here. I got to go back and I got to grind it, right? I got to make some things happen. So next week when I have my client meeting, they have a big smile on their face, right?
Do you have any favorite tech writing AI tool that you recently worked on? Or you specifically more into, ChatGPT or Gemini?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned ChatGPT and Google Gemini, because those are the two primary tools that I use. And I use Notebook LM a lot too for data summarization, like ChatGPT for research, just to kind of learn the scope of the issue, what's going on, the lay of the land. And then, I can take what I gather. Like at first, there's two stages to ChatGPT. There's just, let's define, the landscape here. And then once we've defined it, I know where to dig deeper. So I'll dig deeper in these precise points, take the results of that, hand it to Google's Notebook LM, and say, okay, I just handed you 350 pages worth of information, summarize it so I can get it very quickly.